Welcome to the Authority Journey podcast with Catherine Aragon, award-winning marketer, strategist, 8-times author, coach, and founder of KA Media. Catherine takes you on the journey of moving from being an expert to becoming a legacy leader in your field. Join us each week as she explores the authority journey and what it takes to influence, lead, and succeed.
Welcome to the Authority Journey. Achieving your most audacious goals doesn't happen by accident. Explore the authority journey and what it takes to influence, lead, and succeed. Today, we are going to talk about the 5 P's of authority. Listen along as we explore what goes into true authority, things, traits, qualities that you can develop in yourself to step into your own natural authority. Okay, let's get started. Number 1. The first P of authority is purpose, because after all, how are you going to progress on your journey if you don't know where you're going? Bottom line, you need to have a goal. You need to have something, a mission, let's say, a place where you are trying to go way down the road, and you create milestones for yourself to get there. So this is basically what you are trying to achieve on your own authority journey, but there's more to it than that. It's also what you are trying to provide for your followers, your customers, for the people who come up behind you. Your purpose has to be bigger than just you. So think carefully about what your purpose is as you get started on your authority journey. The next thing that you need to have, this is number 2, is passion. And this is something really important, I believe, that we overlook a lot of times. There is the conversation that starts with follow your passion and everything will fall into its place. And we all know that's not true. Your passion may be in a topic that really isn't a market. There is nobody there who wants to follow you. There is nobody there who has money to spend. And how on earth are you going to build a business or a presence if nobody else is there? Yes, there are micro communities, but that's not what we're talking about here. This is the ability to create real leadership or to create a business. And if you are the only person in that space, or there are 10 people, or maybe even 100 people, it's going to be very difficult to build a real business, or you can build a presence, but not a real business. So think carefully about that. Then on the other side of this coin is the idea that don't worry about what you like. Go find a market that's hungry and just plug yourself in. My problem with that is that if you don't care about that audience, if it's not something you are already passionate about, you aren't going to be able to stick to it. You are going to burn out. You are going to have a difficult time coming up with ideas. You won't have empathy for the people who you're working with. There's so many things that go wrong when you are not passionate about the field that you're stepping into. So, yes, you need purpose. I want to whatever. I want to help. Let's see, I'm thinking about Digital Marketer. They're the first one I saw do this. We want to help 10,000 people. I don't remember exactly what it is. Start a business, let's say, a profitable business, whatever that was. But that whole, we even itemized the number of people. I love that. That's so specific. That's a clear purpose and mission. But they also backed it up with passion. They care deeply about the success of the people who follow them, who come along, who buy from them, and they invest whatever it takes to make it happen. That's the kind of passion you need to have, because otherwise you will burn out. If you are consistently delivering and people aren't showing up, you're going to get upset. If you are consistently creating products and no one's ever buying, that's frustrating. Don't stay in a place unless you're willing to do it for free. If you're willing to do it for free, you have the passion to actually attract people who care about the same thing you care about. So start with purpose, mix in a little bit of passion, and then, before we move on, I want to add this. This isn't just passion around the topic. This is also passion for your followers. So if you don't love a topic, you don't need to be in that space. If you don't care about the people who you are serving, you need to stop serving them and find another space. So it's really, passion is not just about you. It's not just what you love. It's also caring about the people who are coming up behind you. And if you don't have all of that, the passion isn't really there. Next, number 3, perseverance. I promise you, anytime you try to build authority, it gets tough. You are going to bring out trolls. You are going to have people push against you. You're going to have people try to undo what you've done or try to tell you, they try to gaslight you and tell you that the things you've been doing aren't even valid for some reason. That's one of the reasons you have to have passion. Because if you don't already have that passion, these kind of cuts are going to tear you down and they're going to wound you and they're going to make you want to quit. Your passion has to come from inside, never from the outside. Because I promise you, you're going to have a lot of negativity thrown at you from the outside. I was on Twitter not long ago, and my friend Amy Volas, who, if you are in sales, you need to be following her, by the way, she retweeted something by Peter Kazanji. Not quite sure if I got that name right, but his tweet was, "So much of startup success is the ability to take groin kicks and just keep going." That is so true. You are going to be kicked to the curb so many times. And it does get tiresome. That's where the passion comes in. The passion is what keeps you going. The truth is, you are going to fail more times than you succeed. I have so many failed business ideas behind me. Ultimately, I have great ideas. I have wonderful wonderful ideas. I have the passion. I want to serve my community, but not everything I want to create serves a need. And you never know until you get it out into the world. My whole thing about the creation cycle, it's not complete until you get it out into the world. But if you get it out into the world and nobody's interested, it's not necessarily that it was a bad idea. It's that there's not a market for it right now, and you probably need to shelve it. It may never see the light of day again, but it might. Who knows? At the moment, that was, quote, a failure. I don't really believe in failure because I believe that you can learn from everything you do. You can upgrade. You can go in and figure out, you can deconstruct things that didn't work and figure out what you need to do moving forward. If you're able to do that, it's not a failure per se. Yes, the project maybe didn't work. The project could be labeled a failure, but I don't like that word failure because it feels like a hard stop. Don't ever use that word unless you absolutely need to, and especially don't use that word on yourself or on others. That is just so not the way to do this game. But you do need to be aware that you are going to mess up more times than you get things right. You are going to fail more often than you succeed by these definitions. So you need to have the mindset that a little kid has. A 2-year-old falls down, scrapes his knee, maybe cries a little bit, gets a kiss on his knee, and then keeps on going. We have to be rubber. We have to bounce back. We have to be able to get up, dust ourselves off, and keep on going, because the game doesn't stop because we got hurt. The game doesn't end because something we put out into the world didn't work. You have to have perseverance. So what do we have? We have purpose, passion, perseverance. Next, you need positivity. I've mentioned this just a tiny bit. You do need to be able to protect your attitude. You are going to hit obstacles. You are going to hit places where you are feeling burned out. You're exhausted. You've been working so hard and maybe you've seen more failures than you've seen wins. Well, that's going to hurt your attitude, if you aren't grounded in your purpose. Because let's say you're motivated by, I want to earn this much money. Well, the means to do that is, there's umpteen million ways you can do that. It's your choice. You can start your own thing. You can get a job. You will end up bouncing around, though, because your purpose is not mission-oriented. It's just something you want. It's actually very selfish if you think about it. A real authority isn't really motivated solely by money. They aren't so motivated solely by something that feeds themselves, because the higher up you get in the authority journey, the more you start giving back. I mentioned Amy Volas earlier. She is one of the most positive people in my social media streams. I love seeing her posts. She always has something positive to say. She always has a positive comment for the people she's connected with. She's very engaged. I love seeing that. And it's a good reminder that all the negativity that we face on a daily basis is just a choice. People are choosing to be trolls rather than encouragers, and that's a really sad thing. If you want to be an authority, you can't be that negative person. You can't be coming into the world with a solution, that tears down. A good solution lifts up. It doesn't tear down. You can't come into the conversation negatively, tearing other people down, judging people, judging the way other people do things. That's such a negative energy, and nobody wants to be a part of that. To become an authority, to attract your audience, to attract customers, to create something lasting and impressive and something that people want to be a part of, you need positivity. Protect your attitude. That's part of the key here. You have to do whatever you need to do to keep yourself in a positive space. I know people who do meditation on a regular basis. I love going out and sitting on my porch and listening to the birds and just looking at the sunshine. When things are really down, just going outside where it's quiet, away from all the technology, is actually a good thing for me. For years, when I was bedbound and housebound, I couldn't get outside. I couldn't go take long walks, which is what I used to do. And it really became difficult to protect my own attitude at that point. I had to find other things. Actually, one of the funny little things that I did, and this tells you how small it can be and still work, is on my phone, I made sure the screensaver was pictures of nature. Maybe I couldn't get out to go take my walks and look at the rabbits when they were feeding in the evening, but I was able to at least put pictures that were inspiring to me on my phone. I actually create products periodically they're all about attitude. They're all about getting your mindset back where it needs to be. It's too easy to watch the news and look at all the negativity in social media and get pulled down. Many times I stay off of social media. Many times I avoid the news. I maybe read headlines so I know what's going on, but I don't dive into the details because honestly, it's frustrating. It's scary. This is a very negative time. And with so many negative things going on, we have to work harder to stay positive. But you need to stay positive. Now, many times we come at things, again, from a place of anger and frustration. We need to come from a place of generosity and love, because what is our mission? If our mission is to solve a problem, if our mission is to help people, are we going to help them by tearing them down and judging everything around them? Or are we going to be more helpful, able to do more good if we offer encouragement? This is a mental shift. That's all it is. It's just a different way of looking at life around you, a different way of responding to it, and a different way of talking to people. We need to own this. I recently, the first book in our book club, if you haven't joined yet, be sure you do that. It's on Amazon. It's the Business and Growth Podcast with Catherine Aragon. And the first book that I put in there was Brotopia. It had been highly recommended by a friend of mine, and I thought, okay, well, I need to read this. Let's make it part of the book club. Oh my goodness. That book put me in such a negative space because everything in the book was true. And after being on this planet, as long as I've been on this planet, I had experienced a lot of it. And it actually helped me understand some of the things that had been frustrating throughout my career and my life, which made it a frustrating book. It has taken me a couple of weeks to get out of that negativity, and I'm so glad that the current book that we're reading, Over Deliver, is a much more positive book. I highly recommend it. Again, go join the book club because we're going to be reading a lot of books about growth, about mindset, about business, and being in the right headspace. And so, no, I bought a second book to go with Brotopia. I don't think I'm going to put it in the book club because honestly, I don't want to live in that space for a whole month. That's too much negativity. And you need positivity if you're going to be an authority. You can't lead from a place of frustration or anger. You can only lead from a place of positivity. So what have we got? Let's back up. All right, number 1, to be an authority, you need purpose. 2, you need passion. 3, you need perseverance and positivity. That's number 4. Our fifth thing, the final piece of the puzzle, is people. Everything you do as an authority begins and ends with people. Everything. Think about this. Your customers are people. So when you build a business list, what is that? It's a list of people. It's not a number. It's not a thing you can manipulate. It's people with hopes, desires, who put their faith in you to come and hopefully you could solve a problem for them. You must solve it with positivity. You must have a purpose and passion behind that solution, but you have to remember these are people who are looking to you for real solutions. Take care of your people. Think about your audience. Your audience, again, they are investing in you. They're following you. They want to hear you. They can drop off any minute. And if you come after them with manipulative tactics or trying to use them or make them feel belittled, they're not going to follow you. They're not going to be there when you need something back from them. Always start from a place of giving first, because ultimately, you can't use up that equity. There's a relationship equity that you need to build up. It's like putting something in the bank that you can then later withdraw. How many times since the pandemic made this worse? Before the pandemic, I had a lot of connection requests in LinkedIn that immediately they went to an ask. And yeah, okay, fine. I know that's part of your sales process, whatever. The minute the pandemic hit, everyone just got so scared. All of a sudden, I was just complaining to my husband about this. Every single connection request is somebody trying to pitch me. They are not making any investment in me. They don't care who I am. Sometimes their request, their pitch has nothing to do with who I am or what I do. It's so irrelevant to my life. There is no way I'm going to buy from them because they forgot I'm a person. Don't make that mistake. Realize that people are the point of everything. Your team members, this one's a big one. It's really easy to misunderstand the people you work with because you're busy trying to get your job done. They're busy trying to get their job done, and you cross-message one another. You just two ships passing in a night, trying to get your own job done, but the other person misunderstands something you say, something you do, and it can cause problems. But if you still remember that people are the point, and if you try to work it out with that person rather than attacking them or talking about them, all that negativity we talked about, don't bring negativity into your relationships. If you have a problem with someone, say something and try to work it out. You have to focus on the people who are around you, and that's your coworkers. It's also your audience, just the broader world. It's your customers, anyone who comes into your circles, no matter how close or how far away, they are your people. And a real authority focuses on them, focuses on what they need, understands what they're trying to do, and tries to help. Yes, your offers of help will not always be understood, but you have to do what you can do. You are not in control of their happiness. That's a big distinction I want to make. You do get to set boundaries. Some people only get to come so far into your circles. Some people bring negativity into your circles and they need to be expelled. They are not the point. Your job is not to convert people, except to sales. You can convert them to sales. Don't try to convert their attitude. That's not on you. Don't try to make up for their mistakes. Don't try to, I do this thing where, and if you're just listening, you can't see my hands, so I'm going to describe what I'm doing. If you hold your hands together in front of you, kind of like in the child's prayer pose, that's like 50-50 relationship. An equitable relationship, each of you you're giving. Both of you are giving and extracting from the relationship equally. But many times, a relationship gets out of balance, and one person starts taking. One person becomes like the dominant force in that relationship. And as that happens, the hands move sideways, one way or the other, depending on who's dominant. And the space in that relationship is taken up mostly by that person. The other person becomes less and less important, has less and less influence over even their own space. So what you see here is someone not just like taking from the relationship, they're taking over the other person's space, the thing that they have authority over. That's like stealing. It's relationship stealing. It's the wrong way to say it, relational stealing. I don't know. But I use this phrase, they're stealing my cookies. Because my cookies, that's mine. That's my benefit. That's what I've worked hard. I've toiled in the kitchen, I've made my cookies, and if someone comes in and steals my cookies, hey, what are you doing? Those are my benefits. Those are my sweet things. Those are the things that make me happy. Well, anytime somebody comes in and pushes against your boundaries and you let them, they're taking your cookies, but you let them. Remember that. You get to enforce your boundaries. That those boundaries don't happen by accident. You put them there. And you can be generous. You can give people like 3 strikes, whatever you want to do. But ultimately, you need to slap people's hands when they try to cross your boundaries. And you need to enforce them. Many times you need to leave a relationship because that respect is not there. It's really important to teach people how they need to behave inside your circles. All right, that was a little bit of a digression, but I think it fits into this because this issue of people is a challenge to manage. It's probably the most important of the 5 P's of authority, but it's also the most difficult. The truth is, everything starts and ends with people. But it's up to you to manage those relationships. You must invest. You must also put up boundaries. You must have empathy for everyone in your circles, and that even the people who you have to walk away from. You must empathize with them. You must understand where they're coming from, even while you recognize that you can't be in their circles anymore. That there's just no sinking this. There's no fixing whatever has fallen out. At that time, you may need to go, but it doesn't mean you no longer have empathy or concern for the other person. You must always assume the best of other people. If you don't do that, you will ruin a good relationship. And then you must give generously. Wherever you can, give. Because that's how you bank goodwill. That's how you bank favors. If you haven't invested, you have nothing to withdraw. Always remember, people are the point of everything you do. You serve people, you work with people, you encourage people, and by being a people person, even if you're an introvert, even if you don't think of yourself as a people person, you can't have authority if you're not working with people in a positive, uplifting way. So these are the 5 P's of authority. And you think about how important they all are. Purpose, passion, perseverance, positivity, and people. You need them all. If you're looking at your own authority, let's say that you have been a freelancer, you have been an entrepreneur, you have been trying to climb the corporate ladder. It can apply to all these situations, and you keep wondering, okay, why do I keep hitting the wall? Look at these 5 P's. Figure out which one you're weak on. Where are things falling through the cracks? That's probably the one you need to focus on next. And the cool thing about the authority journey is you don't just focus on what you want to achieve. That's an achievement mindset, which is wonderful. That's kind of how I operate. I always start there. But the point is you have to build certain skills to get there. And as we've discussed in previous podcasts, you can be very strong in one set of skills, but then kind of be weak in another set. Well, these 5 P's, these are the ones you need to start with. Where are you weak? Maybe you haven't had enough purpose. Maybe your passion hasn't been there. If you aren't clear about what you're trying to achieve from your career, you're going to look like you're just treading water. You're going to end up, like I visualize right now a duck in the middle of a pond that's not going anywhere. That duck has no purpose. The duck is just kind of sitting there, letting things come to it. Life doesn't happen that way. The career choices you want won't come to you. You have to create those opportunities. The people in your circles many times won't just happen upon you. Some lucky accidents happen. But generally, if you haven't put yourself out there, they won't find you. You have to be willing to do that. You have to have the proper amount of passion, which is just caring about the outcome of everything you do. So much of what we do is just, we slap things together, we do the minimum we can get away with, and we go, see, yeah, that was good. There's no passion in that. Do you care deeply enough about what you do to fight for it? That's passion. Do you care deeply enough that when you hit the wall, that when bad things happen, when somebody knocks you down, you're willing to get back up and keep going? That's passion. It's also perseverance, by the way. Perseverance, you've got to be able to keep getting up, no matter how many times you're knocked down. You will have more knockouts than you want, so keep getting back up. That's what the game is about. And then, by all means, stay positive. Find a way to keep your mindset where it needs to be, a positive attitude, and a concern for the people who you actually serve. All of this is important. I hope that you can figure out where in this you might need to focus your energies, because that's how you grow. Again, you have some skills that are very good. You have some skills that need work. If you've gotten knocked down, which is the one that maybe you need to focus on right now? It may only take a few months. It may only take a year out of your time to really shore that one up so you can keep going and actually progress along your own authority journey. Thank you for listening. Let me know if you have any questions, and be sure to follow me. Like the podcast. Make sure you get updates every day. Go visit me on CatherineAragon.com and join my list there where you can get Insights by Catherine Aragon, my weekly newsletter. I share more good ideas there, and I'd love to have you on board. Till next week.